You know the bob you have right now, the one you've trimmed the same way for years. You stand at the mirror, you tuck it behind your ears, and you tell yourself, it's fine, it's neat, it's easy, it's age-appropriate. That word, age-appropriate, that's the one that quietly stole years from me. Here is the truth almost no one tells you. The bob is not what's aging you. The way you were taught to style it is. That blunt, flat, careful little shape you were told was sensible after 60 is doing the exact opposite of what you want. It's adding years you didn't earn. I believed the sensible version for a long time. I sat in a salon chair at 61 and asked for something easy to manage, and I walked out looking 10 years older, and I thanked the woman for it. I actually thanked her. By the end of this, I'm going to hand you something I found buried in the work of the man who reinvented the bob in 1963, a single trick he built into every cut he made that almost no stylist bothers with today. It costs nothing. It uses the hair already on your head, the brush already in your drawer, no salon, no new products, just a truth that was quietly left out. But let me start where I went wrong. Because I made all 5 of these mistakes, and I made them proudly. The first one is the blunt cut, the heavy, one-length, ruler-straight bob that stops in a hard line at your jaw. I want you to understand where this came from, because it matters. When you walk into most salons and say you're older and you want low maintenance, the fastest cut for a stylist to give you is a single blunt length, one line. No layering, no thinning, no time. It's quick for them. And they sell it to you with a word that sounds flattering. Sleek. They say it's sleek. They say it's modern. Here is what they don't say. A heavy, blunt line pulls the eye straight down. It creates a flat, solid wall of hair on both sides of your face. And that wall drags every feature down with it. Your jawline, your cheeks, the soft skin along your neck. Everything the years have already softened. That hard, blunt line underlines in bold. And there's a reason it hits you harder now than it would have at 40. Your hair changed. It genuinely changed, and no one explained the science to you. As we age, the oil glands in the scalp slow down. Dermatologists have measured this. Sebum production drops steadily after menopause, and sebum is what gives hair its shine and its weight and its movement. So your hair gets drier, finer at the ends, and it loses the natural swing it used to have. A blunt cut on hair that already lost its bounce doesn't look sleek. It looks flat. It sits there like a helmet, motionless, and motionless hair reads as old hair. The fix is not a whole new style. It's softness at the edges. Ask for the bottom line to be broken up, just slightly. Point cutting, it's called, where the scissors go into the ends vertically instead of straight across. It takes the hard wall and turns it into a soft edge that moves. The difference is not subtle. A soft perimeter catches light and shifts when you turn your head, and movement is the single most youthful thing hair can do. I asked for exactly this the next time, and I remember the stylist paused and said, "Most women your age ask for the opposite." That's the whole problem in one sentence, isn't it? Most women our age were told to ask for the opposite, so I fixed the shape, and I thought that was the win, but the shape was only the frame. Because the very next thing I got wrong was the color, and the color mistake is even more common and even more aging than the cut. Here's the rule I was handed. Cover the gray. Go dark. Dark hair is younger hair, they told me. So I dyed my bob a deep, flat brown, almost black, because that was close to the color I had at 30, and I thought I was turning back the clock. I was doing the opposite. I want you to really hear this because it's the one that surprised me most. Dark, solid, uniform hair color is one of the harshest things you can put next to aging skin. And there's a real reason, rooted in how skin changes. As we get older, our skin loses melanin and evenness. It gets paler in some places, more mottled in others, and it loses that firm, saturated tone it had when we were young. When you frame that softer, lighter skin with a hard, dark, flat color, you create a violent contrast. The dark makes every shadow on your face look deeper. Every line looks etched. The hollows under your eyes look darker. Your skin looks grayer by comparison. The dye you bought to look younger is casting shadows on your own face. I read about a principle color analysts use, and it stopped me cold. They talk about value contrast, the gap between how light or dark your hair is against your skin. When we're young, our skin can handle a big gap, High contrast looks striking and healthy, but as skin lightens and softens with age, that same high contrast turns severe. It stops flattering and starts fighting your face. The goal after 60 is to soften the gap, not widen it. And this is where it gets interesting, because it means the gray you were told to hide might be your greatest asset. Silver and soft gray hair, when it's cared for, sits at a lighter value that's naturally close to older skin. It closes that harsh gap. It softens the whole face like light through a curtain. I have watched women go from a hard, aging, box-dye brown to their natural silver and look genuinely younger, not older, and the only thing that changed was they stopped fighting the truth of their own hair. Now, I'm not telling you that you must go gray. That's your choice and yours alone. What I'm telling you is that if you color, the answer is not darker and flatter. It's softer and dimensional. A few lighter pieces around the face. A tone that's warm rather than harsh. Anything that breaks up that solid, unforgiving block of dark. Because here's the thing about a flat, single color, and this is the part the box on the shelf never tells you. Real hair is never one color. Young hair, the hair we're all secretly trying to imitate, has dozens of tones running through it, lighter at the ends, deeper at the root, catching light in 100 little ways. When you cover everything in one solid shade, you erase all of that. You end up with a color that exists nowhere in nature, and the human eye reads unnatural color instantly. It reads it as a wig. It reads it as old. So the correction is dimension. If you're at the salon, the word you want is lowlights and highlights, a few strands lighter and a few slightly deeper, so the color moves and breathes. If you color at home, you stop going darker every single time to chase the roots. Because that's how women end up with hair darker than they've ever had in their lives, at exactly the age when their skin can least afford it. I wasted, honestly, hundreds of dollars over the years going darker and darker, box after box, each one aging me a little more, and I thought I was doing maintenance. I was doing damage. So the shape softened, the color softened, and I thought, surely now I've got it. But I was still making the third mistake every single morning with my own two hands, and it undid everything. The third mistake is what I call freezing it in place. For years, I set my bob and then I locked it down. Hairspray, and a lot of it. A stiff, held, every hair in its place finish that didn't move all day. I thought that was groomed. I thought that was polished. My mother did it, her friends did it, and there was a whole generation of us who believed that controlled hair was elegant hair. It's the tell. It's the single biggest giveaway of an aging style, and I'll tell you exactly why. Think about what stiff, sprayed, immovable hair actually communicates. It says the hair is a shape you put on, not hair that grows out of your head. It reads as a helmet. And a helmet has a specific association in everyone's mind, whether they say it out loud or not. It's the set and hold look of an older era. The weekly wash and set at the salon. The roller cap. Nothing dates you faster. But there's a physical reason it's worse for you now, and this is the part the salon never mentions. Gray and aging hair is more porous than the hair you used to have. When the pigment leaves the strand, it changes the structure. The hair becomes drier and more absorbent, and it drinks up product. So when you load porous gray hair with heavy hairspray or thick styling cream, it doesn't sit lightly on top the way it did when you were young. It sinks in. It clumps. It looks crunchy and dull and lifeless, and it separates into those stiff little sections that catch the light all wrong. The very product you're using to look tidy is the thing making your hair look brittle and old. The fix costs you nothing but a habit. You use less, dramatically less, and you change what you reach for. Heavy, high-hold sprays are the enemy of mature hair. What you want is the lightest possible touch, something flexible, something that lets the hair move. A light mist held far from your head, not a wet, close coat, or better yet, a texture that comes from the cut and the dry, not from a can. And here's the mindset shift that changed everything for me. I stopped trying to make my hair hold still. Still hair is dead hair. I started letting it move, and the second it moved, it looked alive, and alive looks young. There's history under this, and it's the part I find almost funny now. The bob was born as a rebellion. In the 1920s, when women like Louise Brooks cut off their long Victorian hair into that sharp, swinging bob, the whole point was freedom, movement, modernity. It shocked people precisely because it moved when nothing about a proper woman was supposed to. We took the most liberating haircut in modern history and we sprayed it into a rigid cap. We took the symbol of movement and we froze it, so I unfroze it. And that alone took years off me. But there was still a fourth thing, and this one I couldn't see because it was happening on the top of my head where I never really looked. The fourth mistake is the flat crown. No lift at the roots. Hair that lies down against the scalp from the moment it grows out. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking right now, and I want to stop and speak to you directly, because I hear this every time I talk about lift and volume. You might be thinking, that's fine for women with thick hair, or women with money for salons and fancy tools, or women with the time to fuss every morning. You might be thinking your hair is too thin, too fine, too far gone, and this isn't really for you. I need you to stay with me right here, because this is the part I most want you to have. Everything I'm about to tell you, you can do tomorrow morning, with the hair on your head right now, with a brush you already own, at no cost whatsoever. This is not for women with money. This is the opposite. This is for the woman who was sold expensive products. She didn't need to fix a problem she could solve for free. That was me. Let me show you. Let's pause right here for a second, because I want to make sure you actually keep all 5 of these once this video ends. Picture yourself standing at that mirror tomorrow morning. The same bob hanging flat. And by next week, you've forgotten which part to lift or which pieces to sweep back. Because life gets busy and video tips fade fast. That's exactly why I put every one of these corrections into the complete style system. The full digital collection built from the Style Reset, Beyond the Basics, and the exclusive Style System Playbook. Inside, you get the cut-by-cut, style-by-style framework for your very next salon visit. The 7 styling errors flattening your hair right now, the diagnostic map for hormones, medications, and hidden causes, and a 90-day week-by-week calendar that pulls your color, your neckline, and your wardrobe into one total look strategy, 574 plus pages in all. Tonight, before you even open it, test the free part again on your own hair. Shift your part half an inch, lift the roots at your crown away from your scalp, and watch what happens in the mirror. If that small free move already changes your face, imagine what the full framework does once you use all 5 corrections together. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen, or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. Your next haircut is coming whether you plan for it or not, and walking in with the right questions already written down costs you nothing extra. Now let's get back to it, because next I'm going to explain exactly why that flat crown works against you, and the 2 free tricks that fix it before tomorrow morning. Here is why the flat crown matters so much. As the face ages, everything gently descends. It's gravity. It's the natural loss of firmness, and the visual effect is that the weight of the face moves downward. The lower half fills, the jaw softens, the whole balance of the face shifts down. Now picture flat hair on top of that. Flat hair adds nothing up high and lets everything sag down low. It reinforces the downward pull. But when you lift the hair at the crown, even a little, you do something remarkable. You move the eye back up. You restore the balance the face has lost. You create a lifted line at the top that counteracts the softening at the bottom. Stylists have known this forever. Height at the crown is a facelift you can do with a brush, and you truly can do it with a brush. Here is the free technique. When your hair is damp, not soaking, just damp, you flip your head over, or you simply tip forward and you dry the roots at the crown, lifting them up and away from your scalp against the direction they normally fall. You're not styling the ends yet. You're only lifting the roots. Then you flip back and let the length fall into place. The roots dry, standing up a little, and that little bit of standing up is everything. If you have a bit more time, you use whatever round or vented brush you already have to gently lift each section at the crown as you dry it, aiming the warm air at the root, then a shot of cool to set it. Cool air locks the shape in. That's it. No expensive tools, no mousse required, though a tiny bit at the roots helps if you have it. Just direction and air. There's one more free move that shocked me with how well it worked, and I'll give it to you now because it belongs right here. Stop parting your hair in the exact same place you've parted it for 40 years. When you part hair the same way for decades, it learns to lie flat there. The roots are trained to fall in one direction, and a trained part goes flat and shows scalp. So you move it. Shift your part half an inch or switch it to the other side entirely. The hair, unused to the new direction, fights it, and that fight is volume. Instant lift. No product, no cost, just moving a line on your own head. I did that one morning almost by accident, parted my hair on the wrong side because I wasn't paying attention, and a friend asked if I'd had my hair done. I hadn't done anything except get it wrong. Getting it wrong was the fix. So now I had softness in the cut, dimension in the color, movement instead of stiffness, and lift at the crown. 4 corrections, all of them free or nearly free, all of them the opposite of what I'd been told. And every one of them took a little more age off my face. But I saved the biggest one for last, because there's a 5th mistake, and it's the one that undoes women who've gotten everything else right. And the fix for it is the secret I promised you at the very start, the one I found buried in the work of the man who reinvented the bob, and it is so simple you will wonder why no one ever told you. The 5th mistake is styling your bob for the back of your head instead of the front of your face. Let me explain what I mean, because this is the one that took me years to understand. When we think about our hair, we think about the whole shape, the roundness, the length, the back, the overall silhouette. We style it to look good as a shape. But no one looks at you as a shape. People look at your face. And the only part of your hair that actually touches your face, that sits against your skin and frames your features, is the front. The pieces around your face are doing 90% of the work of making you look younger or older, and almost all of us ignore them completely. Here's where the buried knowledge comes in. In 1963, a hairdresser named Vidal Sassoon threw out everything the industry believed about women's hair. Up to that point, hair after a certain age meant the weekly set, the rollers, the spray, the frozen dome I described earlier. Sassoon looked at all of it and called it what it was, a cage. He created what he called geometric cutting. He cut hair to the shape of the bones underneath it, so it would fall into place on its own, so a woman could wash it and shake it, and it would find its shape without an hour of fussing. He gave women their mornings back. He is the reason the modern bob exists at all. But there is one principle at the very heart of his cutting that has been quietly dropped, forgotten, left out of the quick chair turnover cuts most of us get now. And it is this. Sassoon cut every style to frame and flatter the individual face, with the shortest, most lifted, most carefully shaped pieces placed exactly where they would draw the eye up and open the face. The face frame was not an afterthought. It was the entire point. The cut existed to serve the face. And here is the secret you can use this week. On the hair you already have, no cut required. The pieces of hair that fall against your face should be styled to angle back and up, away from your face, not down and forward against it. Almost every woman our age does the opposite. We let the front pieces fall forward, straight down along the cheeks, or worse, we tuck them tight behind the ears, which pulls the whole face down and exposes and drags everything backward. Both of those age you. Hair falling straight down alongside the face acts like those curtains I mentioned, framing and underlining every soft line. Hair tucked flat behind the ears removes the frame entirely and lets the face fall. What you want instead is that front section, the pieces from your temple to your cheekbone, to sweep back and slightly up and away from the face, so they open it rather than close it. This does 2 things at once, and both of them take years off. It lifts the visual line of your face upward, fighting that downward descent we talked about. And it reveals your cheekbone instead of hiding it, and the cheekbone is the youthful high point of the face, the thing you most want to show and most tend to bury. You do it like this, and it costs nothing. When you dry that front section, you pull it back and up, away from your face, over a brush, or even just with your fingers in the air. You're teaching those front pieces to lift off your cheeks and sweep back toward your ear, not hang down toward your jaw. A whisper of that flexible product if you have it, aimed only at holding the sweep, and you're done. If your bob is long enough, this is the single most transforming thing you can do to it, and it requires not one snip of the scissors and not $1 spent. There is a reason this was buried, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The quick, one-length, blunt, fall-forward bob is faster to cut and faster to teach. The face-framing sweep takes skill and attention and time, and it treats every woman as an individual with a face worth flattering, rather than a head to get through before lunch. When the industry decided older women wanted low maintenance, it stopped bothering with the very thing that made us look alive. It sold us easy and called it appropriate, and we believed that easy for them was best for us. Sassoon knew the opposite. He knew the frame was everything. Look at any photograph of the women he cut in his prime, and you'll see it. That lifted sweep off the face, that opened, elevated line, it was never about age. It was about revealing the face instead of hiding it. That knowledge didn't disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because it took too long to give away for free. Now you have it back. Let me put all 5 together for you, because when you stack them, the effect is not 5 small changes. It's a different woman in the mirror. You break up the hard, blunt line so your hair moves instead of hanging like a wall. You soften the color so it stops casting shadows on your skin and closes that harsh gap between hair and face. You put down the heavy spray and let the hair breathe and shift, because still hair is dead hair, and moving hair is young hair. You lift the crown with nothing but a brush and warm air and a shifted part to fight the downward pull of the years. And you sweep the front pieces back and up off your cheeks to open your face and lift the whole line of it, the way the man who invented the modern bob always intended. Not one of those 5 requires a new wardrobe of products. Not one requires a body you don't have or a budget you can't spare. Every single one uses the hair on your head and the tools in your drawer, right now, tomorrow morning. That's what made me so angry when I finally understood it. It was never expensive. It was never out of reach. It was just kept quiet, because the quiet version kept us buying darker dye and stronger spray and expecting less every year. I think about the version of me who thanked that stylist at 61 for making me look 10 years older. She wasn't foolish. She was following the rules exactly as they were handed to her. She trusted that the people selling her, the cut and the color and the spray, had her looking her best in mind. That's the part that still stings. It wasn't vanity that aged me. It was obedience. And that's the thing I most want you to take from all of this. The reason your bob might be aging you is not that you did something wrong. It's that you did exactly what you were told, and what you were told was built for someone else's convenience, not your beauty. You just took that back. You now know why the blunt line drags your face down, why the dark box dye deepens every shadow, why the spray reads as a helmet, why the flat crown surrenders to gravity, and why the front of your hair matters more than all the rest of it combined. You know the one principle Sassoon built into every cut and the industry quietly stopped giving away, and you can use every bit of it this week without spending a cent. I believe elegance doesn't expire. I believe the women who get told to fade into sensible and safe and age-appropriate are exactly the women with the most to reveal if someone would just hand them back the tools instead of the rules. That's what I'm doing here. I was fooled first, and I'm not letting you stay fooled a day longer. So let me ask you something, and I really do want you to answer this one. Which of these 5 have you been doing? Was it the heavy blunt line? Or the dark dye you kept going darker? Or the spray you froze it with every morning? Tell me in the comments right now before you click away, because I read them and because I promise you, you are not the only one, and the woman who reads your comment might feel a little less alone. Just type it below, even one word. Tell me which mistake was yours. And if part of you is sitting there thinking, I can't quite picture what that face-framing sweep looks like on me, or I'm not sure my bob is long enough, come with me. This is exactly the kind of thing I keep pulling apart, one quiet rule at a time, for women who are done disappearing. Subscribe and stay, because the next thing I'm going to show you is the one-length rule that decides whether a bob lifts your face or drags it down, and the 2-finger measurement I use to find the exact spot, and I promise you, almost everyone is getting it wrong by ½ an inch in the wrong direction. You didn't lose your elegance. It was never gone. It was just behind a rule someone hoped you'd never question. Now you're questioning everything. And that is the most beautiful thing a woman can do at any age. I'll see you in the next one. Before you go, one last thing. Inside the Ageless Elegance Circle, I walk you through the 1963 cutting trick, step by step, the part I couldn't fit here. And when something puzzles you, ask me directly, and I answer you myself. Never a machine. You won't be alone either. Stylish women just like you are already there with me. Just point your phone's camera at the code and cancel anytime. Come join me. Now that your bob looks its best, let's talk about the color that truly brings your face to life. I'll show you the shades that soften years away and add instant glow. It's starting right here.